I'm going to make a chicken cutlet. I'm going to pound it out nice and thin. I'm going to put mozzarella and basil on the inside and prosciutto ham. And then we're going to saute the peppers, onions, and garlic and fresh tomato, and either use it as a bed or put it on top. And we're going to put this in fine yellow cornmeal. So it depends on which way it looks better. Do we cover all the vegetables, or do we put the vegetables over? We'll see later. Now there's a couple of ways of doing this depending on how good you are with a knife. Since you have this piece right here that's in the chicken, and if you pound it, you have to be careful not to separate this from there. So this piece we're going to pound, but this piece, since it's missing that fillet, we're going to, at the thickest part of the chicken, butterfly this, not going all the way through, like so. Now when we pound it, it's going to be a little bit easier. So that's the hardest part of this dish. It's just pounding the chicken. And you want to get it thin enough because we're going to fill this and then we're going to fold it over. So first we'll do this piece. Fold it over. Make sure you have enough room here for it to expand without breaking. And we'll start. And don't be afraid to apply a little pressure to it. When you see it breaking like that, so don't hit it over there anymore. Go to the thickest area and make sure that you have enough room here, so just fold it over a little bit here, allowing this to go out. Whoops, we weren't covered over there. So that is pretty good. Just a little bit more right there. Now we take our salt and pepper mix, which we make up to make things easier. Put a little salt and pepper in there. You don't have to put a lot, because something that's going in there is going to be very salty. Then we take a piece of that prosciutto, and we know we're going to fold it this way. So just take the piece of prosciutto and place it right there. Then you're going to do the same thing with the other piece. Prosciutto is usually salty anyway. So is the mozzarella. And then we're going to take the basil leaves and we're going to place them like so, covering completely with the basil. Then after the basil, we're going to put the mozzarella cheese. Very nice. And we're going to put this in cornmeal. I'm going to saute it. Meanwhile, I need another board. And I'm not being cheap with the cheese, with the mozzarella. And I'm using whole mozzarella, not partly skimmed. you know, if you're going to do this, make it taste good. So there we have that. Bring this over, and that's really perfect like that. Now we're going to just pull this over to the side, and oh, here's another piece of cheese that goes in there. I want to make sure each person gets their full amount. And now I will do the next piece, and then we will cornmeal it and saute it. Now I just put the oil. I think it's a lot, but that's okay. You know why? High flame, it's going to taste good. The cornmeal's in here. I got the chicken, which I put in the refrigerator for about 5 minutes. This will not take long to cook. And I'm not going to shut the camera off so you get the exact time it takes to cook this, because you certainly don't want to overcook it. And then we're going to remove it and place it on a plate. Then we're going to saute the vegetables and come up with something good. I have a high flame. I can feel the heat in there. We're going to start it off high and then reduce it. So first, just be gentle with the chicken, and use something which holds the size like this. I could go flour, I could go cornmeal, I could go flour, eggs, and then cornmeal, but I don't want a lot on here. I just want a very thin coating on there, which the cornmeal is going to give me. And that's it. And then the next piece, the same. So now I see it's cooking. It's going to brown quickly. We'll lower the flame just a little bit because we have the temperature that we're looking for. And of course that one's going to come out first. And we're in no rush here. And when we look at the color of the chicken when it's removed, that will determine what we're going to do with all the vegetables, which will be cooked right in there in that oil. So now the hard part is done. Now it's a matter of just cooking the chicken, the vegetables, putting the white wine, and that's it. You don't want to cook it too slow. As long as you hear the bubbles like that, then you know we're sauteing and not boiling. We'll take a look. I like that. See, it gave it a very thin coating. You could also attempt to do this on the grill outside. But that would be without the cornmeal. So remember, when you are ready to flip something this large and heavy, with all that oil, what do? Tilt the pan away and just flip it. And there's no danger. That's pretty. Pretty color. And we're going to put the vegetables right over the chicken. Has a nice golden brown color, but it's not that attractive to me that it could sit all alone without anything over it. But what we are going to do that cheese, what's good about this is the cheese is kind of, I don't want to press too hard, I almost press some of the mozzarella out, and we don't want to do that. This is a nice portion. What are you going to serve with this? Whatever you like. Pasta, potatoes, rice. It's up to the individual what they prefer. So now I'm going to take this piece out. Because it's going to go back in there after the vegetables sauteed somewhat. We'll wait another minute for this one. And I'll get everything else. And you can add a lot more basil if you wanted to the vegetables. But I'm just looking for the flavor in there. Or is it that I'm too lazy to get the basil? I don't know. You can very easily do this with a couple of nice veal cutlets too. Plum de veau, not red-looking veal that looks like beef, but quality veal, a very light, like beigey color. And now we will put in the garlic. This is going to be a nice flavor. Give this a second. Always add a little salt and pepper to this. Everything that you're cooking needs seasoning, not just the meat. Raise the flame. You want to do this quickly. And now the tomato. And a little bit more salt and pepper. And after a couple of minutes like this, very high flame, I'm going to put the wine in here, sit the chicken back on top, cook it for another minute or two, and then that's it. So I'm going to shut the film right now because the chicken's finished, and this will take a few minutes. Well, it's been about 3 to 4 minutes, and while I was waiting for this to cook up, I go, don't be so lazy and get the basil. So I have another handful of basil leaves, as you can see, which I'm just going to drop in there. I'm going to lower the flame. Nice and low. I'm going to put the white wine. And we're going to simmer the chicken let the flavor like soak in a little bit. Raise up the flame. There we go. It'll look much better with the somewhat of a sauce over it. And then I'm going to turn them over. And after another minute or two on that side, we will cut one open and look at it. And I'll save the one that's not cut for my wife, and of course I'll have to take the abused one, but that's okay. So now what you do, just to make sure everything is good, it's tasty, because you can make adjustments now, is just to taste what's in there. And if that's smooth and pleasant like it is, not acidic, smooth and nice, it's perfect. And we just turn this. Just about another half a minute. The flavor has now soaked into the bottom. Now it's soaking into the other side. And the texture is so nice. Now I'm going to shut this off. Let's see which piece is hers. Is this heavy? Is this heavy? Oh, this one seems heavier, even though it looks smaller. So we'll take this one. Put it on the plate. Get our knife and fork. The hardest thing to cut through is the basil and the prosciutto, not the chicken. So, as you can see, the chicken is white and cooked. And I'll just put it back together and warm it up later as soon as she comes home. Enjoy. There it is, and that looks great. I put the vegetables on top. Look at all of the sauce there is. And there's somebody else eating it with